1,000 ready-to-use PBR material for Lumion in this pack. All materials in this pack are completely optimized for Lumion. Let me show you an example. This is the texture of a wood. The normal map should be one of these three options. But which one is the best for Lumion engine? What should be the intensity of the bumps? And which one has better function in Lumion? EasyViz has been achieved to the best results in Lumion by testing so many maps on all these thousands of materials in this pack. All you need to do is just choosing the material you needed from our catalog. Maybe you ask me, what does catalog do for us? Or what's the importance of catalog for us? This catalog contains all materials which are rendered in a real scene. You can see the final results of all materials in this catalog. It means you will be able to save a lot of time instead of testing so many materials in the scene, which is so boring. I'm gonna teach you 3 steps for each map in this video. First, you get the basic knowledge about the maps. As an architect, you don't need more. Next, I'm gonna teach you how easily create the maps and also show you several types of each map. And you will find out the differences between them. Finally, we import these maps to Lumion and we are gonna find out which type of map has the best function for Lumion engine. Let's start with the normal map. This is a simple cube that I'm gonna apply a concrete material to one surface of that. So first I need a texture and I decided to paint it here. But don't worry, I'm not gonna show you the process of painting. Now I'm gonna apply this normal map to this texture. But before that, let's simply find out what's the function of this purple texture. This concrete texture has some details, but these details don't have any interaction with the light sources in our 3D scene. So we need something else here, something that get this 2D texture more three-dimensional, something that get this image to life. Here I put a light source in front of this cube, and you can see the interaction between light source and this texture that gets a normal map. I put this simple texture beside it that you can see the differences better. Okay, now let's put the light source behind the cube and see how the normal map gonna works. We have an option in Lumion to invert the normal map, and here I decided to paint an inverted version of this texture to better show you the function of normal map. Now let's create some normal map for a real wood texture. I usually use Materialize because it's free, easy to use, and results are good for me. I put the download link down below in the description. First of all, we have to open the main texture by clicking this icon here. Before creating normal map, we have to create displacement map or high map, because the normal map in this software is based on displacement map. Okay, so click on create icon here. The only map that physically affects on your surfaces, not virtually, is displacement map. I'm going to show you later. We have some sliders and presets here, but don't worry, this tutorial is not going to be confusing. And I'm going to teach you everything you need as an architect as simple as possible. So stay with me. By this slider, you can cover the main texture by displacement map. And you have a kind of compression here. Here we have 6 presets and you can choose them, depends on your need. But the main thing you have to note is that we have a gradation between white and black color on this map. Black areas means that the surface pulls down, and white areas means the surface doesn't transform. By this slider, you can swap between the white and black surfaces. Now I want to show you an exaggerated displacement map here. Look at these black areas and see what's gonna happen in Lumion. To export the maps, choose the JPG format and click on Save Project. Okay, here in Lumion, I add the main texture. Then I'm gonna fix the scale. I think 0.7 is okay. And now add the exaggerated displacement map. By moving the slider, you can see the change. on the black areas and nothing happened on white areas. This is just an example, and let's create a good displacement map for Lumion. So final contrast slider is for swapping between black and white areas. And final gain slider is for amount of dark and white areas. As you can see, I'm playing with these two sliders and presets to achieve my desired result. You don't need more information for the other options here. The main thing is that we have another slider for each map in Lumion, except that these sliders here. So anytime you want a map for Lumion, create it a little bit more exaggerated than what you desire. Gray color and smooth details is good for me here. Something in the mid-range. Okay, now let's create normal map. As the same, we have some presets here, and I'm gonna create 3 types of normal map that you can see the differences. Smooth means the details of texture are in low range. Crispy means we have a very scratch wood. And mid is something in mid-range. The main thing is that if you need a polished wood, you have to use a smooth normal map. But again, I have to remind you that we have a slider in Lumion too. So it doesn't make sense that we create a very low range map for Lumion, because you can put it on 0 value in Lumion and anytime you want. Here you can see these normal maps of this texture, and I'm fine with the mid-range one. Okay, let's talk about Roughness Map and Metalness Map. This section is about reflectivity. The surface is that more smooth has more reflectivity feature. But before I mount up smoothness or roughness, you have to note that some materials doesn't have the ability of reflectivity by itself. For example, this cube, which is made with paper, is completely smooth, but the paper doesn't have the ability of reflectivity. That's why when I set the reflectivity to 0 in Lumion, the roughness option has no effect on the texture. Okay, now I'm going to create roughness map here. And the only thing you need to know is that more darker areas equals more reflection. So anywhere on your surface you need more reflection, get it more darker. As I'm doing here on this wood texture. I don't want reflectivity on the scratch parts of this wood texture, so I get them brighter. Okay, now let's continue with Metalness Map. The type of reflection here is different with Roughness Map. It's more intense and we have stronger light reflections. Metalness is completely opposite of roughness. It means brighter area equals more reflectivity. For this section, I choose scratch metal here. And I'm going to show you how metal parts get reflectivity and how the scratch parts doesn't. So as before, create displacement map. Here I need the scratch parts a little bit deeper, so I get there darker than other areas. Because I want to create a scratch metal, I need more details in this map. So here I use detail preset and I think it's fine here. Okay, now create normal map. Same as displacement map, I need a detailed normal map here. So I decided to use crispy preset, and but you know I need to decrease a little bit the amount of contrast here. Okay, fine, it seems good. Okay, let's create roughness map. As I said, darker areas is more smoother and have more reflectivity. So get this unscratched parts more darker and vice versa. Now let's create Metalness map. Here I played with the sliders to get the unscratched parts more brighter. As I said, it's completely opposite of roughness map. Okay, let's jump into the Lumion. And now I'm gonna apply the materials to this table. You have to play with the sliders to achieve best results. But note that materials that have reflections need to be checked in final renders. And this previous scene doesn't good for judging. So after any change, take a test render so you will achieve a better result. As you can see, the undamaged parts has less reflections. The video ends here and I wish you all the best. Goodbye.